Approval of the bills found on pages 8 through 13 of your packet. Are there any? I'd like to entertain a motion for approval of the bills.
I move that the bills containing vouchers 13,752 through 13,761 be approved.
Support.
Support.
Moved and supported that the bills be approved as distributed. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 We also have a review of our statements of revenues and expenditures for the first 5 months of the fiscal year. If there's no comments about those, we'll just receive and file them. Hearing none, they're received and filed. Next, we have approval of the Treasurer's Report for July of 2018. Entertain a motion to approve the Treasurer's Report as submitted to us.
I would make the motion to approve the Treasurer's Report.
Your support.
Second.
Any questions? If not, indicate by all. It's been moved and supported. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
The report is received. The next time we get a treasurer's report, we should have an invoice for some of the repair work we've been doing near the high school and a couple other locations that we approved earlier. So that fund balance will be down to about zero in the road fund. Now it's time for public comment, and we have several residents here who want to speak to us about, I think you all live on Park Lane, the north area, Park Lane, I guess north of Horse Mill, maybe north of Bridge. You're welcome. I'm going to switch the meeting around a little bit, and you're welcome to come up and speak at this time, and we'll be glad. Just give your name, and that's all you need to do. So you're welcome to come up to the podium.
My name is Maureen Flavin, 17550 Park, and I'm here just because I'd like to know what the plan is to fix all of Park Lane. We've been without water for at least 10 times, maybe at least within a 2-week period, and then multiple times those were in the middle of the night. So you'd wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get ready to go to work, and there's no water. So I don't have the privilege to call off every time there's no water. So I have to go to work, and I'm sure everybody else around me has to go as well. So I'm just looking to see what's going on. I did take a walk the other day, and like within probably 0.2 of a mile, there is 7 patches. So there's been like 7, which I'm sure you know. But we're just here to find out what the process is going to be to fix it, so we can have first world water instead of third.
Okay. Would the other residents like to speak before we get into the discussion? Okay. Well, I'm certainly, Maureen, aware of the outages we've had, and I hope that most of the commission is aware. I know that we are, and so fortunately we have Les Schmidtke, who's retired from the Township Water Department, and then John Keim currently runs the Water Department. So, gentlemen, John, I'd like to ask you to come up to the podium and talk what you know. Now, I will say this, there's multifaceted things going on here. We've had a problem. We're going to talk about it tonight later. We'll bring that up, too. We've had a number of water main breaks. We have had a problem with our pressure-reducing valve. So the way I'll explain that is coming across at both bridge locations, both the toll bridge and the county bridge, structures in the water main that come over to the island, and they're a big valve, which is called a pressure-reducing valve. When the water comes from the Detroit system, which is now the Great Lakes Water Authority, and you probably heard this before. Maybe you were at the township board last night. Were you? Were at the township board? Anyway, so the water comes in at 70-some pounds of pressure. We like to operate at about 55 pounds of pressure. And we know now that the pressure-reducing valve at the county bridge, the free bridge, is not functioning at all at the current time. On an emergency basis, we've ordered a replacement parts for it 2 weeks ago. And I think Lorinda, our director, would tell you that the latest word is that it's going to be installed this Thursday is the plan. And hopefully that'll help reduce some of this. But, John, what do you know about the pipe on Park Lane?
Actually, if you don't mind, I'll have Les explain
that because he has better history on that than I do.
Well, the pipe that is on the north end was put in by BASF many years ago for them to have water on Hennepin Point. And throughout the years, I imagine they put in a piece of pipe that is just barely what they cost was to put it in. So it's a cheap piece of pipe. So also electrolysis is a problem on this pipe because a lot of people have their electrical system grounded to it. And, hey, it's deteriorating. So when BASF put that line in, all they were worried about was water to the very point of Meridian and getting water across the canal up to their building on the north end. And there was no homes up there then. So now there's houses up there. And all these houses are hooked into this, and it's happening. And, it's deteriorating. And it's just not only on Park Lane. There's a lot of places on Grosse Ile that's deteriorating. And also, and not only in our community, and all the communities downriver have had a rash of these water main breaks. So it's just the way the weather is and the hot weather. And I know I stood out in the road many a times when it's 90 degrees out there and people said, "Oh, I bet you're glad to be out here in the warm weather." No, it's like being in a frying pan. And the sooner you get it fixed and get out of there, the better. We all would rather stood out there in the middle of winter. At least it was not roasting us till death. But it's happening. It's happening all over. So we're trying to replace it as much we can.
Okay, so thank you for that. And can you tell us, do you have an estimate of when that was built? Just within a decade, let's say?
I think it was before the 60s. They put that in.
And it was BASF or Wyandotte Chemical?
Well, it was Wyandotte Chemical at the time.
What's the update, John?
As you stated earlier, our pressure reducing valve is going to be rebuilt on Thursday. Hopefully that will keep our pressure situation under control. We still are going to have water main breaks, and unfortunately, as you turn the water back on after water main break, it's causing this older pipe that's deteriorated to blow out within 3 feet of where we just repaired it. So really, to do it correctly, it needs to be replaced as soon as possible.
This section of pipe is basically from Bridge north on Park Lane?
Is it from Bridge or is it north of Paulina? Yeah, because the system that was put in, Smoke put that system in back in the 30s, and it went past their house. I think it was up to Paulina. But then from Paulina all the way up to the point where Meridian intersects with Park Lane, Wyandotte Chemicals put that pipe in so it could be water to Hennepin Point.
And we also feel that it's an inferior class of pipe. It's not water main. It was just more or less irrigation pipe at the time.
Okay. So we're not done with the discussion yet on this. So Lorinda, I'd asked Lorinda to prepare, and she has. Can you display your map? This is a map that shows all the water main breaks we've had so far this year. Pretty near 60 water main breaks so far this year. Oh, it's
Got
up
part
there.
of it up there. It's a big map.
Yeah, I see it.
It's a large
I see
map.
it right now. So, sort of scan through the whole township. You'll move it. You can see.
I can share with them too, so they can see it firsthand.
And there, for the viewing audience, we have water main breaks out throughout the whole township. So one of the issues, folks, all right, so everybody in the commission has got a copy of that map. So the way I see this thing myself, I've been talking to Les over the last couple of weeks a lot, and John and Lorinda, and sort of been out to many of the water main breaks. This is something we have to do something about. Later on in our agenda, we're going to have a little brief discussion about where we are with the Great Lakes Water Authority and what the potential they have for us. But at any rate, this is something we have to fix. And we can't do all the water mains on the island. Some of them are 70 years old. This particular water main, and so another thing, John, is he gone?
He's got a call. It might be from the PD, so he's got to answer it.
At any rate, I asked John to put together on a map, which I hope he has, and consulted with Les on this, to display what are the priority water mains that would be built if we had a choice. And do you have that map?
Yeah, he's got it right here. He's got that section of Park Lane between Bridge and the Point. That's one. The next one.
Ian?
You've got Meridian here. Looks like from about Lowry to Church Road, and then Church Road from Meridian to West River. Those are
Are those the three, John, that you've identified?
he picked out, yeah.
Are there any other water mains that
Oh, there are. That's just a
top priority?
current wish list.
There you go.
Right, so to answer your question, Maureen and others, where would you place the Park Lane? Number one?
Number one.
Okay. What I'm going to do tonight is suggest to our commission, since we've had all these water main breaks, we are going to explore, ask our engineer to do a cost estimate on all these for our next meeting, which is 30 days from now. The next meeting is September 11th, and bring back a report. We're going to, in the interim, try to determine if there's any way we can finance some of these improvements. And through the years, we've repaired a lot of water mains, and I even had the thought, last year we updated about 2 miles, almost 3 miles of water main on East River Road to a 12-inch. Is it possible that updated pressure might be causing some of these on the older lines? Possible? Who knows?
Possible, yeah.
We're also completing the loop of surrounding the entire island on East and West River with a 12-inch upgrade on West River Road right now. It's under construction right now. And you have to speak at the microphone. So
when you repaired these 17 breaks on between Bridge and Meridian and Park, what did you use? Did you use 12-inch?
No. When they repair them, no, they put a saddle or a clamp on the existing pipe that's there.
Oh, you don't repair it.
You can't upgrade that pipe. Connections won't work.
We had to cut some piece sections out that were really bad and you have to put in the same sizes there. The only time you can upgrade is when you just complete the pipe. Correct.
All right, so we've had so many water main breaks, and I don't want to just address Maureen, I address you folks too. It's my feeling that we need to look at this and see if we can't come up with some method to finance some of these, and which might necessitate we issue a revenue bond against our water system revenues. But I think it's something we have to deal with. We've had so many breaks. So we'll take a look at it. And then I'm going to open it up for discussion. I think, have we covered enough of this for discussion purposes? So I'll open it up for the commission. Ted, do you want to say anything?
Just a couple of comments. Between Les and myself, we've been on this commission for 30 years. We're going through a real bad spell here. We recently changed, or the Detroit water system has recently changed their supply criteria to Great Lakes Water. They've made some repairs to the station that pumps to us. They're having some difficulty maintaining a constant pressure. The fact that we had 2 pressure reducing valves that were bad last year that we replaced on the pay bridge. Now we have this main valve that's bad on the free bridge, which we're really expediting that to get it done, and we're hoping to have this done within a week. I'm hoping this will take care of a great big number of these breaks, because I know excuses are like elbows. Everybody's got a couple, and we're not trying to make excuses. This is just a problem that we know, the board knows we have to address it. This commission knows we have to address it. I'm truly hoping that the repetitive failures until we can get it fixed will be greatly reduced when this PRV valve goes in. If it isn't, we've got a whole new ballgame that we have to address financially and attack it in a different manner. We're hoping this will be a big help, because these old pipes just can't handle the spikes of 70, 75 pounds. And I've personally asked the engineer to look at another system that may allow it to relieve the pressure when it spikes. And hopefully we can come up with something there. We are working on it. I just want you to know that we're all really concerned about it. I don't want to be out of water like nobody wants to be out of water, because it is a huge aggravant. And we do understand your plight, and we are working to get it repaired from a board standpoint anyway. So that's all I have, Bill.
I think those comments are appropriate, Ted, and I just want to say the same thing. I mean, I wouldn't want to be experiencing those many water main breaks as well. You have a critical problem, and as far as I'm concerned, as chairman of this commission, we will come back in a month with hopefully a plan and financing, some ideas. It means this commission, we're advisory to the township board. Jim Budney is a member of the township board. Ted is a member, is the township treasurer. I will work together to see if we can't come up with a solution, maybe expedite things for your case. I don't know. But you've had too many outages. I recognize that. It's a pipe that wasn't built by the township. When I learned that, I was very concerned about it. So I don't know what else to say tonight, except we're not making any excuses. We are going to address this issue, and I hope we'll have an answer for you at the next meeting. And I would like to ask that before you leave the meeting, since you took the time to be here, that you would come up and maybe John could get your phone numbers for all of you that are here tonight on that, and maybe he already knows them, I don't know. And at least we keep in contact with you. So you're welcome to come back up to any other commissioner have anything to say?
No, we had this young lady that just walked in was at our board meeting last night. Do you want to come up and speak to the commission, please?
Sure, I would hope that I'm not going to repeat anything that was said since I was already. Apologize for that.
That's okay. We don't mind.
I'm Joanne Ortolan. I own 2 houses on the island. I have a house on West River at 22271, and then I have a house on Park Lane at the north end at 17775, which is Susie Harrison's old house, in case you guys are familiar with Susie, so they'll tell you where it's at. We have been, I'm not angry. Let me just say up front, I understand, and I see that as soon as it breaks, they're out there fixing it. But it's been happening. I mean, there was a point of time where it was like every single day, and there were a couple times where, there would be no message. I'm insomniac, so I'd be up at like 3 in the morning, and we have no water, or I'd get the sludge coming through, like this rusty, yellowy stuff in my pipes and stuff coming through in my water, and then at 8 o'clock or 7:30, they'd say the water's going to be off at 8 o'clock. So, but I already knew we didn't have water. And then the communication of if it was turned back on or not. We're dumping ice. I have buckets near every one of my toilets just so we can flush our toilets. I have 2 kids home from college right now. They're going back to school, but they can't take showers to go to work. We're fortunate enough that we can go to the yacht club because we belong to Groseal Yacht Club and take a shower if we need to, or we can go to the gym and take a shower. But there's other people I know that don't have that luxury, and I have health concerns. I deal with terminal cancer. I'm doing very well, but my concern yesterday when I approached the microphone was that I hear in other cities they talk about boil alerts, and we've never heard a boil alert. And so the trustees were very kind to explain to me why it doesn't pose any danger. But my initial concern was, when you turn your water on and you have rusty yellow stuff coming through your pipes, your initial concern is always, okay, I don't think I should be drinking this. I mean, and I'd go turn everything off, unplug my washing machine, everything as soon as the water went out. So we appreciate the very immediate response that you give to each of these water breaks, but my concern was that there were so many in such a short period of time, and it seemed like it just isn't going to end. So
Hopefully it will end for you. So you heard what I just said about
I did.
back with a plan. So that's what I hope to do.
So I'm new to the meeting, so in a month, is this going to be a special meeting, or do you meet monthly, or how will
Monthly,
we?
our next meeting is September 11th, the second Tuesday
Okay.
of September. And, I'd like to meet earlier, but we have to come up with a plan, talk to our engineers, do the cost estimates, and then I intend to talk to Ted and Jim and maybe a couple other board members on the township board to see if there's any way we can expedite maybe yours, because both Les and both John and Lorinda have identified your section as the real problem right now. I mean, they're all a problem, but the timing of all these water breaks is something people shouldn't have to live with.
Well, and if you look on the road, it's like it goes, there's 4 houses down from me, then it was 2 houses down from me, then it was this side of my house on the left, then that side of my house on the right. It's just the road, it's ripping up the whole road. They're destroying the road just right down the path. And a couple times the water main break was in the exact, it appeared to us, novices that don't know what is happening under the ground, that it was they were digging that same spot up over and over again, like 2 doors down from me. So I'm sure it's destroying our road as well, and it's probably going to be a costly repair long term, because you're going to have to go in there and rip the road up as well. So, but I do appreciate the attention, and I'll make sure I'm here on September 11th. That's a date none of us will forget. So.
Okay, and you can bring any of your neighbors you want. This commission hasn't been sitting on its hands. In 2015, and I have this here, I'll just show you. This is a mailer we mailed out. And in 2015, we proposed a $20 million program to the voters, 2 mills, and your road, your water main is scheduled for replacement in this program. And so is your road. And it was turned down by the voters in 2015. We've put some water mains in, and I'm really speaking not only to you, but to the general public. We have a lot of road problems on this island as well. The county owns the roads, and we've recommended 2 mills again to go to in our November election to fix some of these roads, because the county doesn't have the resources to do it, and we're not on their list. They have a 5-year plan, the 2018 needs list of their top 100 projects, Wayne County. We're not on it. But one project is on it, and it's our bridge. And I know that you're experiencing near Bridge Road a bridge that's now closed on Park Lane. And I will tell you this, the bridge that goes to Hickory Island is a problem, and the bridge on Ferry Road at the canal is again starting to show spots that are sinking. So the county is going to put its money into bridges here on this island. We have more bridges probably than any other community in Wayne County. At any rate, that was our plan, and by now we would have had your water main replaced. Unfortunately, we lost by 190 votes or something of that sort. So at any rate, as a chairman that's been sitting here and others, I'm frustrated with this. I mean,
well, don't feel that you people are alone in this, because there's a commissioner that took his dog out for a walk at 7 o'clock in the morning and looked down his street, and he saw a lake with the sun shining off this lake. And I said, well, Scooter, there's no water for you today. And I had to put up with it until, well, I think it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I finally got water. But I've lived it. I've lived it for 43 years. I was one of the guys that fixed those leaks. And another story was in 1963, there was a water main break on my street. It was a very hard winter. There was over 4 foot of frost in the road. And they would turn the water on it at night. And at 8 o'clock in the morning, the crew would come out there, and they would start with the jackhammers and digging and trying to find the water main. They couldn't find it. That went on for 5 days. And I was working midnight, so I'd come home from work on midnights, and this is when I first got a taste of what the water department did, and I was working in the steel mill. And I was out there running the jackhammer, helping those guys, trying to find that water main break. And it was 5 days that we didn't have any water during the day, but we had it at night. They would turn it on and let it run into the woods.
If you're going to address this, okay. So the people in the audience are speaking, and you're supposed to come up to the mics. That's okay, but you just said you had 13 days in the last 30 days without water because of the water main breaks. We understand that. We know that. And I'm sorry for that, and we're going to work to address it. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Here we go. Just cite your name.
Kathy Mazurant, 18068 Park Lane. So you guys are talking about the PR valve by the Free Bridge that you're replacing this week. So is that the only source that brings the water to the island?
No. We are supplied by 2 different areas. We are supplied by Spring Wells treatment plant in Detroit. That comes in on the north end of the island. The other main that comes across on Parkway, we are supplied by the Southwest plant, which is out on Goddard. That water comes from out in the middle of the river here. Spring Wells comes from Lake St. Clair. So we have 2 different supplies of water coming to us. And in 1983, when we turned that new 24-inch main on, we had a real serious problem. What happened is the 24-inch main overrode the 16-inch main coming over at the north end. And we had rust. On the whole north end, it was rust. We would flush and flush and flush and flush. And the solution was we put the pressure reducing valve in to equalize the pressure from both water mains. So it's difficult because the Southwest plant gives us about 90 pounds pressures at times. And Spring Wells, maybe 55, 60, and that's the problem.
But if the PR valves at the Free Bridge, we're down by the toll bridge. So is that, you seriously think that that's going to reduce the pressure down by?
It's all interconnected. It's all one piping system.
Well, that was like my initial question.
Yep, it's all interconnected.
So you think that because you guys are saying over the next month you're going to do cost analysis, feasibility study, whatever, and so in another month then we're going to maybe know some more. But I mean, so what would be the soonest we're looking at getting this replaced?
Can't answer you right now. We're going to try to figure it out.
You couldn't even give me a ballpark? 2 months, 6 months?
No, I can't. John, you have a ballpark for the replacement of that main figure?
Time?
$400,000 to replace the main, the one that BASF built. We had a quote on it, and we'll see what we can do with that. But I can't promise you tonight, but I'm going to work to achieve something so that we can let you know. Maybe we can expedite something. I don't know.
Right. Well, I wasn't looking for a promise. I was just looking for a ballpark. Because I'm just
My hope is we can move forward with the replacement of that, but there's a lot of things to overcome. My personal hope is we can borrow money from another fund and do it, but we'll see. A lot of people.
I think you guys say you understand, but I think you guys hopefully understand that it's unreasonable to expect that we can't continue to live that way. Last Wednesday, I had family from out of town for a funeral, and I had to wake them up and tell them all that they can't shower to get nice clothes on to go to a funeral.
Ma'am, you got to realize, we don't break it. We just fix it.
I want to tell you, I've already told you that we are totally supportive of what you're going through.
Okay, but it's not what you say, it's what you do. So you guys can all say you appreciate it, but when I hear that in a month we're going to look at studies and things like that, that's why I was...
We're going to study it in the next 30 days and come back with some kind of an answer of where we're going to be able to go with it, I hope. That's all I can tell you. I mean, we're talking about spending a lot of money, and I hope we can...
Well, I'm sorry about that. If I could control that, I would wave my wand, or like you guys say, have a way to make it less expensive. But as it sounds, the township never even put a water main in down there. They lucked out and had someone else pay.
Now, wait a minute. This was 50, 60 years ago you're talking about? Well, it was.
You guys just told us. I didn't know.
Let's be realistic here. I want to try to solve your problem. It's 50, 60 years ago that was put in by somebody, BASF. I would have never known that if Les hadn't been around to tell us.
Well, I don't know who's in charge of knowing about the infrastructure on the island, but I feel like whoever, and it wasn't probably you guys, it was when they started building more houses down there, whoever was in charge of the infrastructure on the island should have realized when you build all, and a lot of them are large houses that are using a lot of water, when all those houses started being built down there, then you guys, when someone comes in and asks to build a house, you guys need to look at the infrastructure to find out if the current infrastructure can support all these new houses. And whoever approves that made a huge mistake when they okayed an irrigation pipe to be the water main for the whole north end of the island, because obviously it worked for a while, but it's not working now. And when something breaks in our house, sometimes you don't want to replace that or you don't have the money to do it. But you're going to have to find a way to do it, because if a pipe broke in our sewer broke in our house, we need to use you need to use the sewer in your house, and you can't just say, well, it's a lot of money, so we're going to have to figure something out in 3 months or 4 months or a year, whatever. That's just not reasonable.
No, yeah, no one said it's going to be 3 months, 4 months.
I don't know what it's going to take. You're here tonight. We were discussing it because we knew we had a lot of water main breaks in the last 30, 60 days and this year, and we're going to try to address it as best we can.
Well, I know you didn't say that, but it just sounds to me that it's going to be months before the problem is solved, because you're telling me about studies and you're telling me that it's really expensive. And I'm
talking about studies. I'm talking about doing a cost estimate and evaluating that and trying to figure out if there's any way we can have resources available to finance an improvement with it.
Okay, because someone else had told me that it needs to be put up for bid. Is that true?
That's the normal procedure.
And how long does that take?
Take as little as 2 weeks once we have a design.
All right, well, I just came up to let you guys think about...
We're not going to study this to death. We're going to give you an answer. That's my hope. And I hope we can give you an affirmative answer. But we'll be honest with you.
Well, and that's what I hope for, but I just want you to understand that it's pretty serious, I feel, to not have water. As they said, you can't flush your toilets, you can't take a shower, you don't have water to drink, and all the other things. And I've got kids at home from college, and then we all have jobs or things that we need to shower for and get to in the morning. And even if it's before the water's turned off, even if there's still some water, it's not enough water to take a shower with, and you can't flush your toilet or anything. So how are you supposed to use your facilities? You can't. You need to go somewhere else to use the bath. And we're not talking once or twice a month. We're talking several days, every single month for the last 2 or 3 months it's been going on. So you just assume that the city is aware of this and they're going to take care of it without having to come down to a meeting. You have all the information here on your maps. I don't feel like I should have to come down to a meeting. I feel like you guys should see this and go, wow, we got a serious problem. We got to fix this as soon as possible, and not just keep putting Band-Aids on it because it's expensive. I guess the city should have a rainy day fund. I don't know all of the...
Don't.
We don't?
We don't.
Well, I mean, I can't control that, and evidently you can't control it, but someone should be controlling it.
You know what? In 2015, if this would have gone forward, you'd have had a new water main already.
Well, so when it didn't go forward, then someone within the city needed to come up with Plan B, I guess. I don't know. I can't control what the people vote for either, so it's out of my hands. I'm just saying, and we pay our taxes, so we should be able to have running water most of the time, is all I'm saying.
Taxes do not support the water department.
But at any rate, it's water funds that support the water department. I agree with what you're saying. I think everybody up here does. And everybody on staff does. We'll do the best we can.
Okay.
You have your phone number. I understand what you're going through. I wouldn't want to go through it. Any other comments?
That just passed for the water, was that unrelated to this type of situation?
No millage just passed for water.
Well, there was one
For drainage,
that,
it did.
yeah.
That's for
That's for
drainage,
maintenance.
for storm
Drainage.
drainage.
That's for drainage.
So that's
For ditches.
unrelated.
It's for
Unrelated.
ditches and drains where people have flooding in their backyard.
Okay.
And
So we
flooding out on
didn't
the
have a
street.
millage that passed that has anything to do with the water this time?
Right.
For the water you drink, but for the water we want to get rid of,
Okay.
surface water, that's what that's for. And that's been that drain, it's a quarter mill. It's been in place for many years, and we find ways to spend it because we have a lot of flooding problems from time to time on the island, and that's what that's for.
So I guess my obvious question, or at least it seems obvious to me, is if we knew we didn't have a fund for this and we were experiencing this problem, why wasn't there something on the ballot for us to be able to pass so you could get additional funds to be able to fix something like this?
Number one, the water fund is funded by water revenues when you pay your water and sewer bill.
Are very high.
Yes, they're very high. And we have built a number of water mains in the last several years. If you go back the last 10 years, all over in different spots. We wanted to complete the 12-inch loop around the island. East River Road was done last year. This year, West River, the 3-mile long main that was a 6-inch main with all the 70 years of corrosion, it was down to like this, so there was not fire flow protection. As far as the recommendation from both Les and John are, and I talked to them about this last week, the number one priority is your section of pipe that they would recommend. So what I'm saying to everybody, we're going to come back hopefully with some kind of plan. We'll do a lot of talking to a lot of people, see if we can figure something out, give you some quick relief.
Tell the guys that work on the mains how appreciative we are, because we know that they're overworked and working really hard to get our water up, and so give them props. I certainly appreciate them being out there real early and everything. Just wish they didn't have to do it so often.
Thank you very much for that comment.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll do the best we can, and I mean that sincerely. So, is there any further discussion? I don't want to cut you off. Anything here? I think we've discussed this, so then we're going to move on with our agenda. Thank you for being here tonight. You're welcome to stay. The next item on the agenda is it was approval of quotes for the road information brochure. Lorinda and I set out to get 3 quotes. We received 2 quotes, but they're both under $2,000. So we're just going to make an award to one of the firms and proceed with the brochure. One thing I would tell you that I asked John and Lorinda on the cover of this, and this is Brenda's doing, we're going to have 5 photographs. Do you have the photographs to show on the screen?
This one is on Church Road.
Section of road.
This one is at, on West River at the curve, going towards Horse Mill. This one is on, this is Bellevue. This one is on, this one's on East River. And the last one, nope, got 2 more. This one's at Meridian at Island.
In that Island Drive.
Island Drive,
Near West Shore, eh?
Yes.
Okay.
And then this one, another section on East River as well. So these are going to be on the front of the brochure.
Okay, so we're just going to proceed with the brochure, and now,
It hasn't changed.
in your packet, I'm going to go back to almost the back page, and I'll just bring this up right now. You have, I guess you don't have, no, you don't have a copy of the brochure. They don't have.
They don't, no.
They don't have a copy of the brochure.
No.
In the brochure, when we looked at it last month, we advertised we were going to have a public information discussion about the road program, both at our September meeting and at our October meeting. So that's still the plan. We meet anyway. We always talk about roads anyway, so by then we'll have the brochure.
Yeah, that actually was asked last night at our board meeting.
Okay, so you'll have that, hopefully, so I'll see some kind of finished product. At any rate, moving along, get an update from the manager, West River Road Water Main Project update.
Okay, let's see. On August the 1st, we had a meeting with Wayne County regarding the ditches on West River because people were starting to complain about having a ditch in front. So the county staff is going to allow us to enclose some of the ditches along the east side of West River Road. We're also going to place some curb and gutter by West Shore with a couple of extra catch basins in there to address the drainage in there. So they'll be happy with that. The curb and gutter is supposed to be going in, I think, at the same time as when they start paving the road. And paving should be done the third week of August. So paving should start then. We're meeting with the contractor tomorrow to finalize their schedule. But I wanted to let everybody know that all the underground work is done to date, and then we've got paving to do, and then we have final restoration. So that's where we're at. Oh yeah, it's all hooked up.
Everybody is done.
Everybody's on it. So all those water main breaks you've seen on the map on West River, we won't have those anymore.
Everything I have to say is, Eddie, are you up there? We finally got it done.
Is the sewer done, the sanitary sewer?
Yes.
For the 11 residents? Did that go smoothly?
Also, the additional piece along Grosdale Parkway that connects to Waterway Drive was completed last Friday, 415 feet. It's in service.
That was important because if we had a leak in it, it might go undetected for a long time because of the canal, adjacent to the canal.
Brought
Bad
that up
place to
4
get
years
into.
ago.
Yeah, I remember.
As long as we're talking about the water main breaks, Bill, you were out there as well, just to let everybody else know, we've had numerous breaks along the same thoroughfare canal where it crosses Meridian. So last Monday we had a large break there. We knew we had a break, but we didn't. Nobody saw it at the time. So I went out Monday morning and had found it down there in that swamp. We fixed it Monday. On Thursday, when I saw Bill again, it was broken again and 5 feet from the last spot. And I have pictures to show because Bill wanted you guys to see it. But that hole was. You could put 2 excavators in that hole. That's how big we
Want
had.
to show them the picture?
And we had to access it through that customer's yard. So we have just totally destroyed his yard. So it's not only Park Lane.
And the mud was flowing everywhere.
Numerous breaks.
I got to tell you, that was a bad deal, Brenda. That's all mud. And
Go ahead, John.
Meridian at Lowry, where it goes under the canal there.
west side of the road, Ted, going up to the canal. Okay. John, thank you. All right. Ember Court drainage. Have they started?
No, not yet. We've kept them pretty busy with water main breaks here lately. The yard drains that they're going to be using, they are on order. They're custom made, so those should be in by next week. Work should start and be completed probably a couple weeks after that. So that's where we're at.
Not a problem right now because it's so dry out. So
Met with the residents and everybody's
Yeah, the
on board.
residents,
so-
everybody knows what's going on.
Next item is the water main break, PRV. We've discussed that, but what pages, 24 to 27? I'm just going to give a verbal update. You have them in your packet. Number one, this PRV thing, when it came up, I want to thank John and Lorinda, but I want to thank Les Schmidtke. We called Les in, I did, to discuss this issue. Les reviewed things, came up with one alternative suggestion that we followed up on. And the only way I can describe it, I wish you all had the opportunity to go down in the pressure reducing valve building, down the staircase 20 feet into the well, let's call it.
Vault, yeah.
Vault. And it's about the size of a one-car garage. But the pipe coming in is this huge. And where the pressure reducing valve in, it's the size of 2 big ovens, let's say, with metal that's 1.5 inches thick, bolts that are that big, and it's really quite a structure. When the firm came in from Saginaw that Les had suggested, I was curious and thought, what's this guy going to be able to look at down there? Well, there's little valves on the outside of this and a little valve in the top of it that are supposed to give you a read as to the pressure coming in or going out. And so we were down there 1 hour and 10 minutes. And this guy examined this and examined that, turned a quarter of the screw on top, just a quarter turn, and tried that and turned it back, tried the other one, and he examined all this and he said, the thing's not working. Well, that's what Kennedy Industries already said. And I have to say I was very impressed with his analysis, almost like a doctor doing it, and all this metal. Well, there's the picture right there of the valves. Not the guy in the shirt, but the... Anyway, we got two bids that came in. They were $2,000 apart. The lowest one was $27,000, put a new diaphragm in, and that was paying to expedite the delivery of the equipment. One firm bid said they couldn't get their equipment for 4 weeks. The other firm said if we expedited it, we could get it in 2 weeks, and we're at the second week now. So township manager handled his emergency purchase. I did call Jim, and I called Ted and Les, and we all were in agreement that we should proceed on an emergency basis with this. And I just want to thank everybody who was involved in it, particularly Les. He did a good job. Thanks, Les. Appreciate
that, and thank you.
So that's the status of that. So now we get Ryan. Are you done? Anything more on that?
I just wanted to add that I had met with Great Lakes Water Authority last week to be sure we were able to bypass that current valve so they can make the repairs, which we were able to get that in place, and we're ready to go. Spoke with them today. They're going to be on board for Thursday morning at 9 a.m. So we're going to have a rebuild on Thursday.
They're going to turn the valves, or they don't trust us?
They're going to turn them. I don't want to replace it if it breaks, do you? Isn't that why we're rebuilding in place?
Well, those valves are only, this is the first time I know those valves are going to be turned.
Been a while.
Ryan Walsh runs our wastewater treatment plant. Ryan is full of bad news here tonight, I guess. This is a revised chart that revises page 32 and 31 of your packet. Why don't we just start with this, Ryan, and you can summarize where you're at with this.
Hello, everyone. Okay. The maintenance HAP overage for the 2017-2018 year through Suez is $19,890.27. cents. So our contract obligation is 40 grand. So we're that much over it.
I think you have to speak a little louder, Ryan, into the mic. So what Ryan's saying, can I paraphrase that for you?
Yes.
In our
yeah.
current contract for operation of the wastewater plant, we did carry in prior years a $40,000 figure for repairs that we relied on our contractor Suez to make. That was for the year. Recognized, maybe I'll remember this, a year ago we amended the contract so that we upped that amount to $60,000. This period of time that Ryan's addressing here tonight is the period of time that would cover last year, not this year, where the limit was $40,000. And so the repairs that were necessitated by the Suez staff was $19,000 over that amount. And so the request is to approve that $19,000, correct?
Yes, and I have supporting documents on all this that will go month by month if anybody wants to look at that. But this is the final amount which is owed. Yep.
And I've talked, and I know Lorinda's talked with Ryan about the supporting documents for the improvements. The original report that Ryan put in the packet listed some of those, and I started wading through them, and I didn't think that it was fair to all of us to have to go through all those. I mean, if you look at Ryan's monthly reports, and you all get it, right? You get an electronic version, and usually there's at least, hi John, Mr. Riley, there's at least 2 pages devoted to this, which talks about all the repairs that the staff members at the plant have made. And that's what we're talking about here. So the work was actually done. You can go back through the monthly reports and see the work that was done. I guess, Lorinda, the appropriate action would be, what, to approve the $19,000 over?
Right, we have to approve that. We need a motion.
$19,890.
I would make a motion to approve that overage.
I will second that motion.
Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, you have the
Thank you.
elevator problems.
Yes, I do. And we had the inspector was out on July 24th of last month.
We all have a copy of the elevator inspector's report in our packet. Just for the audience, I'll explain. At the wastewater treatment plant, which is on West River Road, as you come over the bridge, underneath the plant there are 4 levels, go down some 40 feet, and things are done in processing wastewater at each one of those levels. There's the intake and then settling tanks and so forth. There's an elevator that goes down those 4 flights for staff to take equipment down and make repairs and so forth. We replaced the elevator 5 years ago.
Yes, around then. Yep, that's correct.
The problem that you're talking about is corrosion on the cables. And the new state elevator inspector said the corrosion is a problem.
Yep.
Am I summarizing that correctly?
Yes, and also the main point which he made was the proper ventilation, which we don't have, which is the reason that we have rust on those cables. So we would have to figure out a way of engineering that so that we will have proper ventilation for the elevator shaft, and we've never had ventilation in there ever. So why now it's a problem, I'm not really sure about that. So all I know is all the violations on here, and we have, yeah.
Is the elevator still running? Are you
Yes,
using
it is. I've been in contact with the inspector, and I've been just telling him that we are moving forward on all these, so he's left it open. And yeah,
Still using the elevator.
yes, we are. Yeah.
Isn't this inspected annually? Every year this gets inspected, right?
Yes, it does.
The first time this has came up?
Yes.
Same inspector or different inspector?
No, it's not. It's a different inspector.
Bill, can I suggest that maybe you go to one of the other plants and take a look at the ventilation system that they have? This can get carried away. I mean, this would be very easy to overbuild. A milk house fan may do it. I don't know. But permanent wind fan. And if you could take a look and see what other facilities do so that we're not getting
Sure.
guided in the wrong direction by our HVAC people.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Suggestion.
That's fine. I mean,
Okay.
what kind of time frame are we under with this issue?
Did not say at the moment. He just he mainly said that with the ventilation, it has to be engineered properly in that.
Well, I was just wondering.
We have to look into that too.
I was just wondering if anybody, I know Ted was in the HVAC business. I was just wondering if we shouldn't get a second opinion from somebody, and I don't know who that would be.
All right, I would suggest we get Ohio involved, number one.
Okay.
And I would like to meet him there because ventilation, there's ventilation and there's ventilation. And I ventilated elevator shafts in a downtown, in Detroit sewage treatment plant. My company did that, and we did it with milkhouse fans. You know what I'm talking about, the ball-type fans that spin in the wind?
Yeah.
And depending on the size you can buy, you move a lot of air through those things. And that may be adequate and that may be reasonable. That would be the cheapest way to go, obviously. Or you can put in a pretty high-class climate-controlled ventilation system. I'm not sure we need to do that. I just
Not
want to
either,
make sure
yeah.
we're
Okay.
on top of it.
Okay.
All right, so would you mind
I'll talk to Ohio about it tomorrow.
with that? Okay, so we want to pursue what
Okay.
other plants have done, and Ted would be your guy to help you out.
Okay. So we'll just move forward on all those, and yeah,
I think we have to.
yeah, we have to. So, and I'll let you know about that.
Ryan, other than the ventilation, is Detroit Elevator taking care of the other things?
Yes.
Okay.
Had one quote, which was for the cables replacement. It was about 10 grand for that. The phone also, we have to make sure that I guess that phone works. So I got somebody who's gonna first find out if that phone line is working, and then so we're gonna.
What? Could you clarify the
Telephone in the
phone in the
elevator.
elevator. Yeah, he also
for emergency.
It's working now, isn't it?
wrote that up. Well, apparently, do you have that on there? That's emergency signal device. He wrote it up. Actually, I'm having someone out there tomorrow to look at the phone and the line and ensure that. So,
All right, that was on page 30 of our packet, is what I'm looking
yes. Yep.
at. So to clarify, is you don't know if it's working or not?
No. Nope.
Emergency light or emergency signal or what?
Phone. It's an emergency phone, which we'll call
Somebody's stuck in the elevator?
Detroit elevator. Yes. Yep. So.
All right, so somebody's going to look at that tomorrow.
Yes. Yep. Next, I had an update for the Huperin influent our screen plant project. Currently, OHM is figuring out information for the Part 41 permit. CE Rains was on site a week ago doing measurements in that, and I just spoke with Sohail, and he said that he's working on all that with Huperin. So I guess right now we're at engineering and just figuring all that out. But for the state, we have to turn in that Part 41 permit. So that's next, and that is in the works right now.
Part 41 permit would be to put this, once it's engineered, to install it.
Yes.
Get the state's approval.
Yes. Yep.
Think that you'll be able to, that everybody will be able to bring a report back to us at our September meeting?
Yes, I believe that.
That's what we're going to shoot for.
And then I'll make sure of that, yeah. Yep.
Ask everybody if they can do that. Okay? Okay,
I will. And fourth on here, I have that the wastewater plant will be adding a new employee. Since we actually, Suez lost their contract at South Huron Valley. So we're going to be running our lab again. And Suez says they expect to host it October 1st, and then we should have a new employee by December 1st of this year.
So that won't impact our contract at all?
No. And that's, yeah.
Okay. Yep. This lab technician, somebody that worked at the other wastewater plant?
No, it'll be just, it's an entry level. Yep. So
somebody you'll train?
It's open for whoever. Yep. And that's all I have.
Okay, are there any questions for Ryan about anything? All right. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Discussion items. I don't have any discussion items. Chairman's report. In your packet, you have a document, and it's this blue document at the back end, several pages. We put that in the packet just for you to be familiar with and look over. There's been a committee, and Phil Kennedy and I and Jim Budney and Ted Van Oz, along with the township supervisor, manager, township attorney, environmental attorney, and other consultants have been meeting with the Great Lakes Water Authority. You know, this is the new authority, which is an offshoot of the DWSD, the Detroit Water System. And if you recall, I think 3 years ago, under Mayor Duggan, Detroit split off their wholesale and retail functions so that Detroit's being treated just like we are, or Farmington Hills is, or Southfield, or Trenton, or Gibraltar, or anybody else. So that the wholesale of supply of water comes from the Great Lakes Water Authority now, not the city of Detroit. It's the same system, but a different operating agency. And one of the concerns over the years has been, you know, our contract has expired a couple of years ago. Of course, we're still getting water from them, but how well is Detroit managing the system back when, coming off of some of the prior mayors in Detroit and the problems they had and all the scandals that went on? Great Lakes Water Authority was formed, took over. This is really an attempt to show you how they're trying to be transparent, how they're trying to work with the communities, keep communities informed, and invite communities to participate. They have sub-agencies of this authority where people like our community might have an opportunity to participate on decision-making processes. So at any rate, they've given us a lot of information here. It seems like they're trying to do the best they can to operate financially in a responsible manner. And so I think that the direction, hopefully by the end of the year, township manager and the township attorney are working with the township board, not us, and hopefully that they'll renew our contract with Great Lakes Water Authority. And it's a big deal because it will settle our, this whole issue that we're not a member yet, but we're one of 6, I think, out of 115 or so communities that aren't members. We've always had the option we could put our own water plant in and our own intake into Gibraltar Bay and get water, build our own plant. But that's a $30 to $40 million investment, and I don't think I think we've concluded that if they're going to operate in a straightforward manner, business-like manner, that's a far improvement of what DWSD operated under. So wanted to give you this information and let you know it's just moving forward. And it's all sounds pretty good. I don't know, it's not fair, but you read this information. Anybody have any questions we can try to answer?
I did. I had a question on page 55. And it compares their water rate, different fiscal years, to different things, like the CPI. We know what that is. Then there's a utility rate index, and there's percentages in there. So does anyone here tonight know what utilities they're talking about for the utility rate index?
What they explained to us, John, is it's a national index that's used by all the major utilities throughout the country.
So it's all different utilities. Could be electric, could be gas, could be anything.
No, water related.
Only water. That's a big difference.
That's my understanding. That's my understanding.
That's just a big difference. If it's only water, that's a big difference. And it doesn't really say only water, so now I understand that. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that's my understanding. The only other thing in the packet, I just want to advise you that we did have an opportunity regarding our road bond issue that's coming up November 6th. Information's been published about it, but we're going to send out brochures, and at our September meeting, we're going to have a public hearing on it. At our October meeting, to inform the public, and we're going to do some outreach through cable television and whatnot. But we did meet with Wayne County to explain it to them. So Bill Banton, Lorinda directed a memo to Bill. We wanted to explain to them what our proposal is. It's basically 2 mills. It'll raise about $1.2 million a year. We intend to improve, and that's for 12 years. We intend to improve all of our major primary roads. Primary roads are like West River, Church Road, Ferry Road, Meridian, West River, and so forth. Sections of Park Lane, sections of South Point out this way. And so that's what it's all about. It'll raise $14 million over the 12 years. And so we had an opportunity to explain it to the people at Wayne County, the Roads Division, and ask them to carry it forward to the engineering staff and so forth. Because one thing in my mind that's clear, well, we're not a priority for Wayne County. Each year, if we get this approved, each year we will go to them. If we're scheduled to do Meridian, we will go to them and ask them to participate in the cost each year. They can always say no, but we're going to ask. So I just want to make that point. So we had a chance to meet with them. And they're spending a ton of money, and I'm sure you drive East River Road, and you know, and Meridian, they're spending a ton of money patching potholes that they could save, and if we do some of these improvements. So I think they will participate to some extent, whether it's 10% of the cost each year or 20%. 20% would be good, even 50% would be good, but we're going to ask them each year to participate. That's the point of this. Okay? That's all I have. So, anything else to come up before the commission? We'll go around the table. Jim?
Nothing more.
All set. Thank you, sir.
Nothing more.
Les?
The only thing that I talked to Lorinda about this was that it looks like our dust bond has failed. Not only on my road, on some of the other roads I've ridden on. I don't know if they had a different mixture this year or what, but there is an awful lot of dust on some of these roads. That's all I have.
Mixture the same? It's the same, right?
Mixture was the same. I think it's just dry. It's just overly dry this year.
Well, I know we had a dry year last year, too. August was real dry, but at any rate, Ted?
I've had no.
Done.
I'd like to wish happy birthday to Les on Sunday. Thanks for your input on the PRV.
I can't believe he's turning 70, but time moves on.
Oh, wait a minute. Brenda, anything else?
Yeah, one other thing. The concrete sectioning, Grays Drive and Park Lane are already finished, except for south of Macomb. They have a few areas left there. Lyons is all done. Church at Park Lane is completed, and Grays Drive will be open for the Sims race by Saturday. And that's all I have.
Open for what?
The Sims race that they have every year.
Oh, the Sims race by Saturday.
Yeah,
And it'll be open before school starts by the high school.
definitely. That was our target date, and then the
That was our goal.
race popped up.
So. All right, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Then I'll support that.
12.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Meeting is adjourned.